It's time for our March 2019 plan with me. This month I'm doing a new weekly layout, a lock and key theme with a bit of botanical flair, and of course a cutaway cover page that you're sure to love. So for anyone that's new here or anyone that's curious, I'm going to give you a little tour of my 2019 bullet journal. I've been doing a lot of cutout pages this year and I'm loving them. I've gotten a few questions about whether they wrinkle or get dog-eared, and I found that in the journal they're fine. I like my little goals and affirmations page that I keep underneath the cover cutout page. I've been doing a calendar page for all my YouTube videos and a weekly layout that I used for January and February. I love, but I am going to switch it up for March. So let's get started, shall we? And a quick reminder that you can print out my March cover page. All the channel bonus content is available on my Patreon site for just $2 a month. And guys, I also have another journaling giveaway this month with prizes from Washi Wednesday, Sakura, and Baron Fig. All you have to do to enter to win is leave a comment below and let me know what your favorite cover page was from the past 12 months, and then click the link in the video description and choose one other way to enter. Good luck! I flipped to a fresh page for March, and it is important to come in 8 squares or a set number of squares on your cover page and mark that line, and then on the page below as well you want to come in that set number, 8 squares is what I'm doing, and mark that line. Now my theme for March is a lock and key, a botanical lock and key theme with just a little bit of a mystical moon and stars element. I'm really excited about this one, and let me just get started in pen so that you guys can really see what I'm doing. But I've marked everything in pencil so that I've got all the sizes of everything kind of blocked out. You could make this this lock area, this keyhole area, as large or small as you want. Just keep the keyhole in the center of the rectangle that you mark out, and I've butted my rectangle right up against that line that I drew, and then I'll just go over the line slightly when I draw my little border here. And I'm doing a border around everything, but it doesn't need to be perfect. Very perfectly imperfect as usual. Now that we have our lock area drawn in, I want to start the botanicals, and my botanical theme is based on the flower Lisianthus, which is sort of like a loose rose. Lisianthus has all these really tight petals wrapped around these little round stamen areas. Stamens are sort of like little circles in the center, and then some larger floppy petals around the outside. So you start by drawing those tiny little circles, a bunch of little broken curved lines surrounding them, and then some larger floppy petals right on the outside. And it's always a great idea to just look up a photo of Lisianthus on Google Images while you're drawing. That can be so helpful to see the subject in front of you, and photos are notoriously easier to draw from than life because they are already two-dimensional. I'm just drawing in lots of little buds and leaves and sort of weaving them all together so that they overlap, and it's nice if you do that in pencil first, then going over it in pen is just really fun. And I want to take a second to say thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring our video today. Skillshare is an online learning community for creators with more than 25,000 classes in design, business, watercolor painting, and more. Premium membership gives you unlimited access, so you can join the classes and communities that are just right for you. Whether you want to fuel your curiosity, creativity, or even your career, Skillshare is the perfect place to keep you learning and thriving. And it's also super affordable. An annual subscription is less than $10 a month. Join more than 7 million creators learning with Skillshare. The first 500 of my subscribers to use the link in the video description will get a 2-month free trial. So click the link in the video description. My Lisianthus surrounding the lock is thick in some areas and thinner in others. That's just a design choice. And of course I've left the right-hand side, the cutout side, completely blank. And now at the end, I'll just add a few flowers and leaves in that one corner. That's gonna make it easier for me to cut that out afterwards. And it's gonna look really pretty, I think. And then it's time to fill in our lock area. And I am just doing another botanical design, but a very simplified one, as if it was a botanical design that might have been carved into brass or set in brass, I don't know. But anyways, I'm just doing these black leaf designs, and they're all sort of tiny, and they all are sort of interlocking, but none of them are touching. And then I'll color in the border dark as well, leaving just a little bit of negative space so that it looks like maybe there's a little bit of a highlight along that outer edge, and that's just a nice design element. And then I'm coming in and I'm doing these very, very light sketchy lines just over top of all my little leaf designs, and that just makes it sort of brings the whole thing together, and I think it looks really pretty. It gives it this, I want it to look like an old brass lock or keyhole, and I think yeah, I'm super happy with that. The only thing is now I'm wondering if maybe I should add some more lines and shading to the botanicals, but first I'm going to cut my cutout page out. I want to start there, and I can always come back and make little changes later, so I'll use some tiny scissors. Then I realized once it was cut out that I hadn't erased my pencil. It's always a great idea to erase first. Once you cut that out, it's easier to dog-ear the page or wrinkle it. But we'll flip that over, and I am going to draw another Lisianthus branch underneath here. I've already drawn it in pencil. So again, start with those little circles for the stamen, then these broken circular lines all around the stamen, sort of overlapping those slightly, and then as you come to the outside of the flower, when it's the size that you like, you can start doing these pointy floppy petals and sort of weave all those together, and then just have fun adding some leaves in any which direction. Some leaves can be smaller and some larger, and maybe add a bud or two. And next what I'm going to do is choose to continue my illustration on the right hand side of the page. I have those 8 squares marked off, so I know not to draw there unless it's very purposeful. So I can flip this down now. I can look at it and say, okay, it would look pretty if I continued the design with this leaf or another bud, and in that way you can kind of work the two designs together and create something that's really fun and really sort of really pops, I think. After that's finished, I'll continue adding in my goals and focus. Those are just my goals and affirmations for the month. I like to have a few, and then of course on the right hand side there on the page below, I keep a little calendar, so I've got my month at a glance, and I just write March, and it's the 3rd month, so I put the 03 above. Now, as I said last month, this is a great space to use, or a great spot to use a stencil if you have one, but if you're practicing your block letters like I am, then my best tip is to just do one line. So mark those letters in pencil, then go over one line in pen, and then go do the next one. So let's try that again. One line and then another line, and if you mess up, you're going to color these in anyway, so it doesn't matter if one line gets a little too close to the other one. Just draw it again, and of course we're just going to use our pen to color everything in a nice black. I am using the fine liners from Mulatto today, or Mulatto, and it is best to use your tiniest nib. For me, that's the 0.05. I love the 0.1 for most things, but for these little detail areas like this calendar and filling in block letters, you're going to want a really, really tiny nib. So it is great to have pens where you can choose your nib size. For the block letters above, I am doing a negative space image, so those ones you do have to be a little more careful. But if you mess up, you can see I messed up slightly on the 3 there, and the lines didn't quite line up. You can always do a shadow, and a shadow can just be a thickening of one side or two sides of a letter. So you have a line that's a little wonky, just thicken it and call it a shadow. So our cutaway cover page with goals and affirmations and month at a glance underneath is coming together really nicely. I just need to add a little marker to the 2 pages, and I will do that now. I am using a warm gray marker from Faber-Castell. I will link that in the description below. If you like my binder clips, that black clip that I just used there, I also have linked some similar binder clips and paper clips in the description as well, so check that out. And I'm just using the warm gray marker to add a little color in the keyhole, and then of course I did a little starry sky. And I'm going to add some more line shading to the Lisianthus underneath here. I just thought the contour drawing just didn't look strong enough, so I can always change things as I go along, and as you do. I'm drawing a calendar page here. I'm of course pulling the pen towards my body. That always helps me keep my lines fairly straight, and I'm leaving space for the word March, which I have written down there in the bottom since there is the 31st falls on a Sunday. So of course that whole last week is sort of just empty space. So we'll put the word March in there. I'm going to add all the numbers, of course, and then what I'm going to do is continue with my little starry sky element of this month's theme up above. So I am just using the 0.05 nib from Moloto to do all this little detail work like tiny numbers and letters and filling in my foligraphy. It's always nice to have those choice of nibs. It makes such a huge difference. I used to use Sharpies. I still love Sharpies for some projects, but having the choice and a little more control with your pen, it makes all the difference. So here you can see I'm just doing some like nice little clouds and moon and stars, very, very simple, and just adding some little line shading along the bottom of the clouds there will really make that illustration pop if you are following along. So there is my March calendar. I'll use that for all my YouTube video dates, and I am doing 2 videos a week now if you haven't already heard, so make sure to subscribe. Okay, and now I am finally at the point where I get to try out my new weekly layout. I'm switching it up in March, and I am starting by drawing 6 boxes across the bottom of 2 pages, so it is still a 2-page weekly layout. And if you're using a Bear and Fig journal, it works really nicely. You can do boxes that are 7 squares, and you get a perfect border of 1 box in between, or 1 square in between each. I'm using my gray marker to write the date, and then using my black fine liner to just write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday over top. I'll use the gray marker for a little bit of shadow effect on the sides of the boxes as well. And then up above, I am just tracing my washi tape to get a small circle. I'll fill that in again with the gray marker, and I am going to do some cute little botanical illustrations just surrounding that circle, or sort of overlapping the circle. Again, the gray marker is from Faber-and-Castell, and I am going to link a pack of similar ones, or the same one, in the description, so look for that in the video description. This little circle area I'm just using to write what week it is, so this is March 4th to 10th. I am going to add a little calendar to my weekly layout. I feel like that is something that I'm always flipping back to figure out like what is next Tuesday, what's the date, you know, so I feel like that is part of my weekly layout that I would really benefit from. That was something I didn't have before. I am finally adding the key to my lock and key theme. I'm just sketching an old skeleton key out in pencil here, and then I'll go over it in pen, and I used a little bit of rip paper and washi tape in this week's layout as well. I have been doing sort of a very minimal layout for January and February, and so I was kind of missing doing just a little tiny bit of collage is always fun. And if I have little bits and pieces from my time here in Paris, Chris and I are in Paris this month, then I can kind of add them into my journal a little. We'll be home mid-March, so we're here for a little while yet, and I want to kind of incorporate some little goodies into my weekly layouts. I'm just doing some little doodles, and of course it's more flowers, and I've got a lot of space on the left-hand side here, you can see, and that's because I'm probably going to add a weekly tracker, but because we're traveling right now, it's like I'm not going to the gym, I'm not getting up at the same time every day, so the trackers kind of went out the window a little, and that's okay. I'm just going to leave that space blank, and I will figure it out when the week comes. And here I did decide to go back and add some more line shading to my cover page. The contour drawing, a contour drawing is just a line drawing like that in a coloring book. It just didn't stand up. It didn't have enough oomph to go with the darker lock area, so just some extra line shading I think really brought the whole thing together, and I'm super happy with the way that it looks, and I love the design that lays underneath on that other page. That was something I didn't do in months prior. I always just had everything on the bottom page hidden, so it's really nice to have those kind of work together, and I'll add my goals and affirmations. I have my YouTube calendar all ready for March, 2 videos a week. I am loving doing that much content. So far it is going really, really well, and the response has been great. And then over here I have my new weekly layout. I've got space to add some sort of habit tracker if I want to, but when we're still traveling for the very first week of of March. I think I'm probably just gonna use that to put like some cute photos and stuff, because it's just not the week of going to the gym and doing fasting and all that good stuff. We'll do that when we get home. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will see you soon with another video. We're doing lots of watercolor and Bujo related art on the channel, so be sure to subscribe. And I want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. I'm going to give you guys a little look at my Skillshare homepage. When you sign up, it's kind of like Pinterest. They let you choose topics you're interested in, and then they suggest courses. So mine are like all about crafts and illustration and watercolor. Today I saw one about how to take a selfie. That's sort of fun. And one that I thought you might like is this chalkboard lettering. If you're a creative and you love this channel, that could be such a good side gig for you, doing lettering and boards for businesses in your hometown. And this one, a guide to watercolor brands and paints. This lady has taken the time to sort of break down all the different brands and paints, and I know you guys always have more questions about that topic, so you might want to take a look at her course. Okay, thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe.